This is crazy because I just feel like every time I get excited about the Indiana Fever season, it's like it's like a baseball bat is hit into my stomach. And I know I haven't been streaming in a long time, guys. I know I haven't been streaming in a long time, guys. I'm sorry about that, but life has been lifing lately. But I'm trying to get back on track. But when things happen in your life, you got to get your life in order to do the things that you love and you care about. But I'm here, I'm back because as you know, it's your boy Mike K. Smith. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hoop is hoop, as you all know. I got excited. I was very excited once I heard that Kyra was getting released, and you're starting to think that does that mean that Caitlin Clark is coming back? Does that mean that Caitlin Clark, we're about to see the baby goat? Does that mean that she is gearing up to return for the season? That was my thought. That was what I was thinking. That was what I was hoping. And now we hear more news that we do not want to hear when it comes to Caitlin Clark. But when Caitlin Clark, the Fever just said that Kyra Lambert was released. I posted on my Threads account with Caitlin Clark in the Goku like health underwater tube. And I was saying that does that mean that Caitlin Clark is about to return? Does that mean the baby goat is approaching and going to return for the end of the season? Now we're hearing that Caitlin Clark possibly, well, not possibly, Caitlin Clark suffered another minor injury while she was working out. And then on top of that, this happened on the same day that McDonald, I believe, no, Sydney Colson got hurt and tore her ACL. This happened in the practice. So you have to ask yourself, if you're the WNBA, you have to ask yourself if you're the Indiana Fever, you have to ask yourself if you're a fan of basketball, if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, because those things go hand in hand. Indiana Fever fans, WNBA fans, basketball fans, Caitlin Clark fans, it goes hand in hand. Do you believe that Caitlin Clark really should return this season for the Indiana Fever? There's 9 games left in the regular season, and we know the Indiana Fever are fighting for their lives to possibly get into the playoffs. So the 6th seed right now, they're 19-16. This one from a supposed to be a championship caliber team, a championship year, to a injury riddled season, up and down. Caitlin Clark not really being on the basketball court, not playing, suffering injuries. This season has been a nightmare to say the least. And the Indiana Fever are still 19-6, and they're still in the 6th seed right now and pushing for a playoff spot. But you have to think about Caitlin Clark, and you have to, I want to say, protect her from herself, because at the end of the day, we know basketball players love to hoop. And when you love to hoop and when you're passionate about hooping, you want to be on the basketball court at all times. Angel Reese came out and said that, of course, she was going to return because at the end of the day, she loves to hoop. Caitlin Clark, I'm sure, feels the same way, that she wants to return and she's healthy enough. She's going to try to get on the basketball court, especially with the Indiana Fever having a chance to go to the playoffs. And we don't know what can happen in the playoffs because, to be honest, all these teams this year have been incredibly mid. And even some of the top teams like the New York Liberty, like the Minnesota Lynx, they're missing their key players as well. For Brianna Stewart being out, as well as Nafessa Collar being out as well, who's the MVP front runner. So when you're talking about this season and you're talking about Caitlin Clark, you have to think, what should the Indiana Fever do? And I've been saying it. Like, of course, I want to see Caitlin Clark play. Of course, I want to see her on the basketball court. But when you suffer lower leg injuries as a guard, as a player that has a lot of responsibility on her shoulders for being a generator. Caitlin Clark is the best generator we've ever seen in the WNBA. She's one of the greatest generation. Caitlin Clark is the best generator we've seen in the WNBA in all of its history. Caitlin Clark is also one of the best generators the game of basketball has ever seen on the men's and women's sides. That's how talented she is. That's how lethal she is. That's how much pressure she dictates on the basketball court for is her ability to score, and pass and generate a whole bunch of opportunities, whether it's for herself or for her teammates. She is a engine, but she suffered 3 lower leg injuries, and now we're talking about Caitlin Clark suffering a minor leg injury as well in practice, which has affected her shot while she was trying to play through her injuries, affected her shooting for her long distance, her jumping, her elevation. We all know what happens when you aren't right as a guard and you have to get lift and you have to score, you have to push off on your legs and your foot. You do not want to risk Caitlin Clark coming back and her suffering a serious injury that may prolong her being out for even longer. That's not what you want to do. We seen it happen to Kevin Durant. When he came back, he had a calf strain. We seen it happen to Tyrese Halliburton. When he came back, he was struggling with a calf strain, a lower body injury. We do not need this to happen to Caitlin Clark. And the Indiana Fever have to protect Caitlin Clark from herself. The WNBA had to protect Caitlin Clark for herself. And I know people are going to say, well, if she's 85% healthy, you got to go out there for your team. No, you don't. No, you don't. And I know it's a lot of pressure on Caitlin Clark because of the CBA and the lockout. And we don't, for a basketball standpoint, if Caitlin Clark doesn't return this year, we don't know if we're going to see Caitlin Clark next year because it's a lockout that's probably going to happen. But at the same time, we want Caitlin Clark at 100%. You don't want to chance Caitlin Clark coming back, especially if she's not going to be at the level of play that we've grown accustomed to seeing. This year has been a down year for Caitlin Clark, and she's been battling injuries, and she's been in and out of the lineups. But people don't care about that. People are going to use that against her because people are going to say, well, she's on the court. She's playing. Like, it is what it is. You got to show up. If you're good enough to be on the court, you got to be healthy. Nobody's going to hear those excuses. For a play standpoint, for a health standpoint, it makes the most sense for the Indiana Fever to just come out and say that Caitlin Clark is going to be out for the remainder of the season. That's what they need to announce. They need to announce that Caitlin Clark's going to be out for the remainder of the season because at this point, injuries keep happening. Caitlin Clark hasn't played a game since July 15th. That's over a month. And she missed games prior to that. And her suffering this mild sprain. She had a mild ankle sprain, a bone bruise, which we know that can be a nagging injury. She suffered that the same day Cindy Colson tore her ACL. Caitlin Clark's been out. Cindy Colson's out. McDonald's out. And they just lost Sophia Cunningham as well to an MCL injury. At what point do we just say, you know what? Clap it up for Kelsey Mitchell being a top 10 basketball player in the WNBA, keeping the team alive and dominating and being the best pure hooper in the WNBA and showing that she can be a legitimate first option when she has talent around her. Clap it up. It was a great season. Clap it up for Aaliyah Boston, proving her game, being a more of a competitor, having a better motor that she's had in her past 2 seasons, improving, being the best passing center in the league. Like we can clap it up for some of the successful things that the Indiana Fever Force or season that they had and the players that contribute to this up and down injury riddled season. But we don't probably need to go in and put Caitlin Clark, who has suffered so many injuries and is the face of the WNBA and has so many great years to play. We don't need to risk that, especially when the Indiana Fever probably aren't going to win a championship this season. Because even if Caitlin Clark comes back, I don't know if that's going to be enough without the pieces that they were hoping to come and to be successful and to thrive and have a title contending team. They're missing key pieces. Sophia Cunningham is a key piece. McDonald, she became a key piece. Like Sid Colson playing that, having that veteran leadership and giving you spot minutes in the playoffs. She was a key piece. Like their depth has diminished, and that was something that we talked about last year for us, Indiana Fever. That we know that what the top three going to do, but they didn't have enough depth. And now you get into a situation where do you really want to go out and play Caitlin Clark and in the postseason, and then you're playing her for 35, 40 minutes? And the thing about it, you gotta ramp her up. If she is gonna come back, it can't be on some like she's gonna return for the first round of playoffs and then play 40 minutes. No, you gotta get her back in the last 4 to 5 games of the regular season. Gotta ramp her up, gotta see how she's doing, how her minutes, is she producing? And then you got to get her going into playoff basketball, which is more physical, more aggressive, and it's a whole different type of season. That whistle don't get blown as often. It's way more physical, more of a half court game than a full court game. Referees are letting things go. There's no knick-knack fouls. It's a lot of things that you have to really consider if you're the Indiana Fever, if you want Caitlin Clark to return. But I've been saying it for a while, and I've been saying it not just with Caitlin Clark. I was saying it for Angel Reese as well. I've been saying about Paige Beckers. Let her get Rookie of the Year and then shut her down. Like, because of her Kawhi Leonard knee type of situation where she has a degenerated knee where it's going to have to be micromanaged throughout the course of her career. If you don't have anything to play for, why are you just coming out and allowing your stars to continue to play when the season is basically over with? Now, I know what the fans want. I know what the WNBA wants. I know what this year and off season is going to be about for the CBA. I understand all those things. But at some point, you got to make sure that you're protecting players from themselves. And for Angel Reese, she's back on the court. She dominated. I don't believe Angel Reese should be back on the court, but she came back. She's dominated. Hopefully she can stay healthy for these next 8-9 games because she had a back injury. Paige Beckers is going to go out and win the Rookie of the Year. Caitlin Clark is hurt right now. She may come back. But for me personally, I've been saying this. Keep your best players off the court until they're healthy. And I know players want to come out and play for their city and play for the fans. And especially it's hard to tell players that if you have a chance to win a championship and if there's an opportunity, you want to go out and give it your all because you don't know if you're going to ever have that opportunity again. But you have to ask yourself, is that opportunity worth risking a long-term serious injury over? And I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark is going to have a serious injury. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is history has shown us when a player is suffering lower leg injuries, it can only get worse if you keep playing on that leg. The wear and tear, the cutting. Basketball is not a sprint. Basketball, it's left, right, back, forward, change your direction. You have to be cautious. You have to really think about that. And sometimes, even if that means making the hardest decision, a decision that you don't want to make, sometimes you got to make it for the betterment of your team and also the betterment of your best player. So it's going to be interesting, chat. But I ain't gonna lie, this feel good. I feel good to be back. I'm not gonna hold you. Not gonna hold you, Chad. I've been out. I've been gone. Like I said, dealing with some personal stuff, some family stuff. Life has been life has been lifing. But we back. We back at it. 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 We back at it, man. We back at it. But it's been a crazy year for the Indiana Fever. It's been a crazy year for the WNBA for its injuries. If you look at all the injuries that teams have suffered, and for it's like, I understand it though. If you're the Indiana Fever, and I'm looking at I'm looking at the playoff picture right now. Let's get to it right now. So, and this is me putting on my like fan hat. because I can separate the two. WNBA playoff picture. Let's get to it. Here we are. Standings. Here we go. Liberty. So here we go. This is the playoff picture right now. We got the Minnesota Lynx, we got the New York Liberty, we got the Atlanta Dream, and I've been telling people about the Atlanta Dream. I said they're 2 years away from winning a championship and really being a title contender. They're 23-13 right now. Ryan Howard has been in and out of the lineup, but the Atlanta Dream are special. The Phoenix Mercury, the Las Vegas Aces has came out of nowhere. They've been dominated. They done won like 8 out of their last 10 games. Like, special. I know people are going to say Nafessa College should be the front runner for MVP and probably win the MVP award, even though she's been out and stuff like that. But A'ja Wilson is by far the best basketball player in the WNBA still to this day. Then you got the Indiana Fever at 19-16. Then you got the Golden State Valkyries 18-17. Talk about what a great season. An expansion team being this successful. 18-17. And then you got the Seattle Storm that most people don't talk about for is like how inconsistent they are and have been and how embarrassing they've been as of late. They have too much talent on their team, one of the most talented teams in the WNBA to be 18-18. But we know that locker room has always had issues. It's had issues prior to the season. It's had issues during the season. That locker room, that culture, I don't know what's going on in Seattle, but they have been terrible. They started off very, very strong. And then we got the Los Angeles Sparks, who have started terribly, but they're building, they're slowly grinding back into a playoff seed because they're extremely talented as well with Hamley, with Kelsey Plum, and then we got Rickea Jackson. They're finally realizing who their future best player is or who. And I told Rickea Jackson, I'm going to tell you this right now. Rickea Jackson has best player in the world type potential. She's that good. She's that lethal. She's that skilled. She is a bucket. She can get to it. It's just about consistency. It's also about getting her in the right mindset each and every day to come out and bring it on the basketball court. But the Sparks wasn't really running offense. She wasn't really playing early on in the season, which was crazy. But the Sparks have started to run offense through her and understand who she is and who she's capable of being. Like, I know it was the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese show last year for the Rookie of the Year race until Caitlin Clark just kind of took off. But Rickea Jackson was the second best rookie last year to me over Angel Reese. And this year, when we talk about Rickea Jackson, she is phenomenal as well. So we're looking at the seeding. I understand why the Indiana Fever are like, you know what? If we do get Caitlin Clark back, if Caitlin Clark comes back off an injury, if she is 100% healthy, we like our chances. We like our odds because we saw the Indiana Fever beat the Minnesota Lynx in a Commissioner's Cup game. We saw that they're talented, they're skilled enough, but at the same time, do they have the right players for us the depth to really compete and go on a deep playoff run with all the injuries? I don't believe so. So that's why when we're asking these questions, we're having conversations about the Indiana Fever for Caitlin Clark. What do you do? I don't believe it's in their best interest to really go out and to bring Caitlin Clark back and allow her to play, because I'm looking at some of these teams. Out of the top 5 teams, who do I think they can beat in the playoff series? I think they can beat the Las Vegas Aces. I think they can go either way. The Atlanta Dream and the Indiana Fever, I've been telling people that's the real rivalry for us, not the Indiana Fever Chicago side, but the Dream and the Fever is a real big-time rivalry with Ryan Howard and Caitlin Clark. That can go either way. But I would still probably give the edge to the Atlanta Dream, especially with the lineup and the roster that they have. They're not beating the Phoenix Mercury, who is extremely talented, who can win a championship this year if if the drawing and the standings go right. They're not beating the New York Liberty. They're not beating the Minnesota Lynx. I don't think we're talking about in a 5-game series or 7-game series, depending on if they go to the WNBA finals. So you have to ask yourself, if we're bringing Caitlin Clark back with the lack of depth that we have for our players being out, McDonald, Sophia Cunningham, Sid Colston, all those great players, do I think they can win a championship this year? And I'm saying if Caitlin Clark is 100%, if Caitlin Clark is who we know what she is, when she came back off that first injury, she dropped 30, went crazy. That's the big question. That's what we have to ask. That's what we have to bring up when we're talking about these conversations, when we're talking about bringing Caitlin Clark back. I do not know, Chad. I do not know. 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 So these are the things we have to ask. These are the questions that we need answers to. And but who knows? It is what it is. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But I'm hoping and praying if Caitlin Clark does return, that is great. And the Indian Fever can go out and they can dominate. And I just like seeing basketball because I think they hoop is hoop. I like all the best players. I want all the best players healthy. I want all the best players playing. But lower leg injuries are something serious, and Caitlin Clark has suffered 4 injuries this year. 4 injuries this year. You have to be very, very careful. And I don't want to come out and ever say I told you so. I never want to do that, especially when it comes to injuries. But do you understand the backlash that would happen if something seriously happened? Like, you have to be very, very careful. You have to be very, very gentle with handling lower leg injuries, especially for a guard. Especially for a guard. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting for sure. It's gonna be interesting for sure, man. Gonna be interesting for sure. But it's your boy Ma K. Smith, also known as AK's, also known as the coolest guy in sports, or whatever you want to call. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on AK's NBA, all the social media platforms, talking to NBA, talking to WNBA, of course. It's your boy Ma K. Smith. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm trying to get it consistent. I'm trying. Like I said, life has been life right now, but things are getting better. Definitely. I really appreciate y'all for rocking with me. You know, the independent journey is you know how it can be. It can be hard, very challenging sometimes. For those that are new in the chat that don't know me, that are new subscribers, that are new live viewers, this is your boy Mike Casey. I've been in the sports scene for a minute. Worked for the NBA, worked for Slam, doing 2 shows in the past, interviewing NBA players like Tracy McGrady, Kendrick Perkins, all that great stuff. Beat writers, you know how it is. Used to do basketball analytics, coach as well, youth basketball for the Brooklyn Nets. So you know the hoop is hoop with me. You know about the game. You know about the storylines. You know about the beauty, the true essence of basketball. Though I would definitely say that's why I do it. That's why I love covering. That's why I love analyzing the game. And hoop is hoop. At the end of the day, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and join the independent journey. And I'm gone, man. Peace.